One day, you're going to look around and you're going to realize that everybody loves you, but nobody likes you. And that is the loneliest feeling in the world.
I admit it, another hoe got me finished. Broke my heart, oh no, you didn't.
Welcome back, everyone, to another 2020 review. Today we have the Minnesota Wild. We're moving right along here. We're on to the second team that has lost in the play-in rounds. This is team number 10 of all the teams we reviewed, if I'm not mistaken, or team number 9. It's not number 11. I know it's not. But yeah, this is a team that's it's been mediocrity. I want to say since they made it to the conference finals back in 2003, this has pretty much been mediocrity, not gonna lie. They lost in the play-in round to the Vancouver Canucks by a score of 3-1 in the series, and they had a 3-0 win in game 1, and I think they just couldn't answer after that. And it's tough. You look at this team, there's really not that much to be excited about heading into the next season. I mean, you have some players you can be like, okay, yes, we have these players to be excited for, but not necessarily. And the recent acquisition that they made about a week ago, actually, with the Minnesota Wild, they traded for Marcus Johansson, so Marcus Johansson is now on the Minnesota Wild roster. Eric Stahl's gone, which is a big effect, and someone else is going to be leaving the Wild, likely. Or no, they said it was going to be confirmed he's going to be leaving the Wild, so we'll get into that in a second here. So, anyways, they played 69 games. Nailed it this time. 35, 27, and 7 record. I guess that's okay. 220 goals scored, 220 goals against, so they were pretty much just 500 there. And that placed them right at 21st place. 21. It's just it's been kind of an up and down season for them. They had their coach fired, and Dean Evason came in. I thought he coached well for this Wild team, but they didn't make much moves during the trade deadline or during the entire season in general. I can't really think of any. But this is a team that they have one good player that they could be hyped up about, and then they have the 9th overall pick, which we'll get into in a second here. But I don't know what else to say about this team. The leaders in the regular season now, of course, with the new editing, you guys will see them. Starting off here with Kevin Fiala, 23 goals, 31 assists for 54 points. A lot of people were saying that the Eric Stahl trade hurt the Minnesota Wild, and I think it kind of did in a way. Eric Stahl made, when you look at it, Eric Stahl made Kevin Fiala good. He really helped out Kevin Fiala, and with Eric Stahl gone, what does that mean for Fiala? That's the huge question that I'm asking myself. Next up here, we have Ryan Suter, who is one of the 2 players in that awful contract. 8 goals, 40 assists for 48 points. Now, we did talk about today with Louis Eriksson having one of the worst contracts in the NHL. I think you could argue those 2 contracts in there as the worst contracts in the NHL as well. So, it's a really tough thing there with Minnesota. The contracts expire, I think, 2025, 2023. So, yeah, you're not too far out of an expiration date, but you still got a few ways to go before this team is actually a decent contender. Next up here is Zach Parise. Zach Parise is number 3 ranked. 25 goals, 21 assists for 46 points. Still pretty good statistics. All these guys had above 45 points at least. At least. In the play-in rounds, in 4 games in the play-in rounds, you had 2 teams tied at 4 points. 2 teams. You had 2 players tied at 4 points. I think that was Stahl and Koivu. Anyways, while we're talking about skaters, let's talk about Mikko Koivu. So we talk about Eric Stahl, with him leaving the Chicago Blackhawks, with him leaving the Minnesota Wild, and, they announced that Mikko Koivu will now be leaving the Minnesota Wild as well. That's their captain down the drain. Mikko Koivu, I've seen him so many times in the Minnesota Wild jersey, it's going to be hard to see him not in one, if I'm being honest. And, with how much this team is going, with seeing Koivu gone, who is the captain then? You could put Suter or Parise in that captain speech. Kevin Fiala. I don't know, to be completely honest with you. But whatever happens, we'll see what happens. We'll probably have more news over the next couple of weeks deciding the Wild, but it's pretty tough. Their team's going through some change. Goaltending. Goaltending's interesting because there's 3 goaltenders here that I have, and I see one of them leaving. And if he's not leaving now, he's either getting traded or his contract's not going to get renewed whenever his contract gets renewed. Alex Stalock with a 20-11-4 record. You know, really proved me wrong this season. I was like, okay, you know, Stalock, you got ahead in here playing well, and he developed as a starter, which is actually pretty good. So then next up was Kaapo Kähkönen. He had a 3-1-1 record, a decent start to his first season. You know, I'm hyped for this goalie in the future. That's one of the players. I guess you can put him in the hyped up session, but I didn't have him there because you know, he's only played a few games. And then Devin Dubnyk with a 12-15-2 record. I see him leaving. Whether it's in whether he gets bought out, whether he gets traded, or his contract doesn't get renewed whenever that contract expires. I don't see him returning to Minnesota, to be honest with you. So, you know, we'll see what happens, and I don't know. That's it for kind of the bad stuff, I guess, but there is like RFA and UFAs now. Players to be hyped up about. That's the real question here. Kirill Kaprizov. That's the one I have there. You know, Kaprizov, he is projected to be a top 6 forward for this Minnesota Wild team, and I agree. He's heading into next season, leaving the KHL. He's a very good goal scorer, and that's something the Wild need. You know, you have a subpar 220 goals scored, 220 goals against. You know, you got to improve that goaltending, and you got to improve that offense too, definitely. So, you know, I think Kaprizov's really going to help this Wild team. It might help Fiala, Suter, and Parise, or other players, other young players on the team. But yeah, we'll see what happens. UFAs and RFAs. Now, let me just say before this, the cap space for the Minnesota Wild is $16.2 million. Just thought I'd throw that in there. The UFAs are Mikko Koivu, which we talked about. He's not coming back to the Wild. Galchenyuk, who is more than likely not coming back to the Wild. We've talked about that multiple times. You know, Galchenyuk, he was drafted by Montreal. I was like, okay, this guy's a good guy, I guess. He played a few seasons there. Went to Arizona. He played good for a season. Was a part of the Phil Kessel trade to the Penguins. And he got traded to the Wild in the Jason Zucker trade, which is kind of a funny thing. But yeah, you know, Kaprizov. But you know, Galchenyuk likely not coming back to the Wild. He's a UFA this season, and he's likely not coming back. You look at this, I don't see him coming back. Galchenyuk, he's really disappointed me, to be honest with you. So I think that he doesn't come back, and I think we're gonna see without Koivu and Galchenyuk. Saucy, however you say his name. I'm not too sure. I haven't watched this guy play that much. I do know some of his statistics. I guess you can re-sign him, but I'm not too sure. RFAs, Luke Kunin. Now, he had type 2 diabetes, so I think they'll re-sign him. It's like Lindblom. I think they'll re-sign Lindblom, too. Well, that's with the Flyers. Jordan Greenway, haven't seen him play too much. I guess he can get a contract. And Nico Strom, if they can work out a contract with him, I'm sure they can get him here. Now, then the picks. They have the number 9th overall pick. They can pick Sanderson, Holtz, Perfetti. Sanderson, Holtz, Raymond. I guess you could throw Rossi in there if he doesn't get selected high, because, you know, you have a lot of people ranking him lower. But yeah, you know, I don't know. To be completely honest with you, number 9, they're gonna get a decent player out of it, but it has to be Jake Sanderson if he's available. They need a solid defenseman. He's not a goal scoring defenseman, but he is a solid defenseman. Are they better? I don't know. It's another one of those teams where I'm like, are they better? I honestly don't know about this team, because this Minnesota Wild team, you know, they have good offense, they have decent defense, and their goaltending they have to work on. There's a lot of things that need to get done in this Wild team, and you know, if they want to avoid mediocrity for another season, they're gonna need to do something this season. Okay, you can't just luck out and make the playoffs next year. Definitely not, unless we have another thing like next year, like this year with next year. But yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I can't even predict if they'll make the playoffs because it's kind of just in and out for the Wild, you know. They made it in 2018. They missed in 2019. I guess you could say they made it in 2020, but you know, I don't know. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it, subscribe button. We were trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. Thanks for the constant support. It's been great seeing you guys like the videos and subscribe to the channel. You know, getting more opportunity, getting more people on here, more people making thumbnails, more people making intros, and all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for the constant support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.